Diaz de Leon.
This is Nicholas Garton.
This is Omar Wahid.
And this is Rob Chapel.
And it's 365 Amplified in our new space, yes?
Our new headquarters, downtown, near East Side.
Madison 365 East.
Oh, there we go.
It's downtown.
It's
Almost downtown.
Yeah. I mean, if we
what
compare
is
it
downtown
to our...
considered?
What?
What's considered downtown?
I think literally just a few blocks more.
Yeah, like maybe like to Patterson Street, maybe.
I don't know what that means.
Like,
Yeah, I don't
like
know
two more blocks
Oh,
east
streets
of where we are now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Would probably start to be the East Side.
Yeah.
I would think.
But I wouldn't say we're properly downtown. We're definitely on the outskirt of it.
Yeah, we're on the Isthmus. We're not on the
We
square.
are closer to downtown, though.
In
than
terms of
before.
like journalism in general, we are on the outskirts.
we live on the outskirts,
Uh-huh.
but
We
we are
report
very
on the
happy to
outskirts.
be here at the starting block space in the Spark building right on East Wash, right across from Bruce Stevens Field, which is convenient for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all about Rob.
It's a good choice.
Uh-huh.
Yep, my commute's longer. Everybody else's is shorter, so I'm making the sacrifice here.
Yeah, but you get to be across the street from like
Yeah.
your favorite place,
Right.
so you're actually like, no, let's go here.
Weren't you there last night?
I was there last night
You were.
to watch the Forward Madison be summarily defeated quite handily.
Yeah, they were
By
not.
FC
Oh,
Tulsa.
Oh,
Nicholas
no.
was like, oh no.
Nick's like, oh no.
Oh no, I brought up some hurt.
It's okay.
They
They were playing a second division team, which is a higher level.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, weren't they
So-
playing a much harder team?
Yes, it's like UW Platteville playing against the Badgers, sort of.
Mm.
So it was not unexpected that
Yeah.
they got whooped pretty good, but they
What was the
hung in there
score?
3-1.
Oh, it's still whooped
Oh, that's
pretty
not
good.
It's not bad. And one of those was a penalty, so like
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah, that's a really even count
I
then.
know. That's like half a point. It was only half a point they
yeah,
got.
they should only get a half one for that. But no, it was a fun match.
Was it like their second string team that they were putting in the other team, or like, or were they
It was their second
playing
string goalkeeper for sure,
Okay, so they were putting in like
and some of because they just played on Saturday. Both teams just played on Saturday.
sure. So they were doing practice.
yeah, kind of.
It was maybe a tense friendly.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah. There was, they got chippy. The Tulsa guys were not nice guys. And
Oh.
he kind of severely injured one of our guys and
Mm.
didn't get sent off for it.
Oh, there is hurt and harm here.
I don't know
Stefan
if you know
Lukic.
about Tulsa, but they're generally just not happy about
Lots of things.
lots of things
Right,
for good reason.
right. No, the Stefan Lukic, who we know because he's used to play in our league.
Hmm.
So we played against him a lot. He took out Garrett McLaughlin's ankle pretty bad.
Oh, so this is personal. Like there was.
I
like,
wondered if there was some beef or something. Like
yeah,
they were already
I would
ahead.
Love that energy and
They
that
were already
information
ahead like
more.
3-1 at that point. So like, why are you
Oh
going
wait,
so
you were
hard?
already ahead 3-1, and he came in and like
Yeah,
like
sweep the leg. Kind
yeah,
of thing.
sweep the
yeah.
leg, kind of.
Yeah.
Just
and
like
one of their
the
guys,
Karate
one
Kid.
of the guys got called for a foul, and then
Uh-huh.
our guy is like laying on the floor, and they bent over to spit on him.
What?
What?
Yeah,
Well,
and
wait,
didn't get sent
I'm
off.
sorry.
And
I
still
love
didn't
this
get
kind
sent
of stuff.
off.
Okay, wait, stop, Rob. When we ask you how was it, and you all go like, "Well, we got beat pretty bad," and forget the other parts
Sounds
of
like
the drama.
most
This
exciting
is the stuff to lead
soccer
with.
game
I know.
Yeah,
And
ever.
He's
It was,
like, "Well, I don't want to bring in bad blood." Like, no,
Yeah.
not the whole thing.
And
You
because
just-
I was covering it for a neutral website, I
Uh-huh.
had to like interview the Tulsa coach,
oh,
and
sure.
I couldn't be like, "What the hell is with your guys?"
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing?
I mean, there's a white way to present that question.
I
Like,
suppose, yeah.
You know how to do
You-
that.
your guys played with a lot of passion tonight, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Can you explain the mindset for
Yeah.
which your team kind of ended that game there when they were already ahead 3-1?
Yeah.
Like, could you say that?
I suppose I could have. Yeah.
They were frenemies. It sounds like.
Yeah, I did get to know one of their guys did get sent off at the end. Get
It's
two
too
yellow
late
cards,
now.
but it was too late. Yeah, but that was the U.S. Open Cup. So that our dream to win the U.S. Open Cup is dead now.
Well, no, yeah,
Which you were excited about.
I know.
I love that tournament.
We've been to soccer games as a team,
Hmm.
Uh huh.
but never the exciting one.
Never the drama one.
Right, right.
Next time we pick an office,
Yeah, it's
just
like
across the street from the casino. If we're all picking like favorite places,
uh-huh.
gambling's fun.
Yeah. Also, Rob, don't bury the lead next time.
Right,
like,
right.
There was you could have started with there was drama last night.
It was there was a little bit of drama. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know that other story though. But like, it seems like a former player and a current player.
Yeah, I
have
wonder.
some sort of
I wonder if there's beef between Lukic and McLaughlin.
yeah. Well, there is now.
There is now for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Garrett was in a boot after the match. They had to cart him
Oh
off.
wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a harm. Hopefully he recovers well and
Yeah, we'll see.
When do they play next? Because that's
They-
the way.
they
This is
go
how I know that
to-
Rob's gonna be out or gone.
No, they play at Charlotte
Mhm.
it's next Friday rather, the
Okay.
11th, and then they're home for 3 Saturdays in a row.
So
against
Rob will not be at
Texoma.
home for 3 Saturdays in a
Yep,
row.
against Texoma, and then Indy 11 in the Jägermeister Cup, and our,
Wait, are you gonna be gone for like is it even Easter? It's a holy weekend
Mhm.
for you.
Yeah, Easter Vigil. I
Yeah,
will
it
be
is.
at- during Easter Vigil, I will be at the Stevens Field,
There it is.
and then then I forget who we're at. Then we have Omaha May 3rd.
Oh, I don't know
Which
what
is another
Omaha
big game.
is.
Yeah.
I
Our-
went there
our-
once.
our-
Oh, I
our
forgot.
teenage-
You're not missing anything.
I
Our
know.
teenage kid has told me he wants to come to the Indy 11 game, the Jägermeister Cup game.
I mean, it's fine. Just make sure you're not
Yeah.
drinking Jägermeister and sharing it with
I
him.
won't
He's
be-
a
no, no,
teenage
no.
kid. Oh man, I am so old that we got a teenage kid.
Yeah.
Who let me in charge? Who let me have children?
Almost 2 teenage kids. In a couple months, there'll be 2 teenage kids.
I am still surprised.
hmm
That is still. That is not something I should have been allowed to do. All right, let's go ahead. Let's actually move into some stories here.
Yeah,
besides
let's talk elections.
So
a
that was
little
some good news, Rob. I will give you that one this week.
bit. the soccer talk was actually interesting.
I mean, again, lead with that. We'd all be excited about
Yeah.
that. We like the drama.
A lot of election results to talk
There
about.
was a lot of election results.
Let me just talk real quick through the Madison Madison Alder races, and then we can talk about the bigger ones maybe.
Yeah.
But we'll just talk just a little bit about the contested races. Will Ushowitz in District 2 beat Matt Eggerer 60-40. Downtown, Mike Verveer actually got a pretty good challenge. Eli Turovsky got 46% of the vote.
Oh wow.
So Mike Verveer keeps
The
for his
seat
87th term. I mean, in all seriousness, he's been
there
since the
embedded.
90s.
Yeah, he's been entrenched in that role.
Yeah,
since the
yeah. So
90s.
So he got a bit of more challenge than maybe was expected. Regina Vitiver in District 5 retained her seat with 71% of the vote. In District 7, where Nasra Wahilye decided not to run again,
Mhm.
it was a closer one, and it was her husband Abdi Siad against Badri Lankella, and Badri Lankella won that one with 54% of the vote. Alder District 9, this is one we were watching. Nikki Conklin was the incumbent, and Joanne Pritchett actually unseated her.
Mhm.
With it was narrow. It was only a couple hundred votes, 51 to 49%. In District 10, another close one. The current council president, Janet Figueroa Cole, held off a challenge from Lisa Veldrin, 53 to 47%. And in District 12, Amani Latimer Burris lost. She was the incumbent. She lost to Julia Matthews, 54 to 46, roughly. Tag Evers easily held on to his seat in District 13 with 85% of the vote. In the rematch in District 14, the last time 2 years ago was a tie, and they pulled Isidore Knox's name out of a hat.
Yeah.
And along with the seat, he got the incumbency advantage because this rematch with Noah Lieberman, he won 52 to 48. That's despite not getting the endorsement of the Dane Dems,
Yeah.
which they normally just kind of endorse every member that runs for
Yeah.
anything. But they didn't give him the endorsement. We can talk more about that and why. District 15, Nina Martinez Rutherford withdrew, suspended her campaign,
Yeah.
and won 51 to 49. So it's
So it'll be interesting what the
clear-
next steps are, right? So
Right.
if she decides not to take that seat and
Right.
just resign immediately,
Right. Do they have? I think they'd have to do a special election. I don't think they can just give it to.
I
the
thought
other
they could
person.
appoint somebody.
The people want Dean and Nina.
Who's she to say
People
no?
do want Dina Nina.
But Dean and Nina
Yeah.
said no.
Yeah. No, I think.
I thought they could appoint somebody until they do a special election.
Right. But
Yeah.
but they can't just give it to the person who lost.
No.
You got to go through a process
Mhm.
to and maybe the mayor would just appoint the person who lost, Ryan Coughlin,
Yeah.
and then have a special election where he get elected, I suppose.
This is why it's also really important to just because somebody suspends their campaign does not mean that you don't go out and continue to make sure there's name recognition
Right.
and that folks in that district understand that person had removed their name,
Yeah.
had
Right.
quit or suspended their campaign in the
Mhm.
middle of the thing.
District 16, Sean O'Brien wins over Kim Richmond, 60 with 62% of the vote. In District 17, Sabrina Madison held on to her seat pretty easily against
Yeah.
Sean Burke, 73 to 27. District 18, to replace Charles Mayadzi, On the north side, Kamala Glenn got 74% of the vote there over Kevin Monroe. District 19, which was subject to some controversy because Nino Amato was running, even though he lives in District 9.
Well, that's weird.
He was told... He's a
Soglin disciple, so he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, kind of. But he was told, and it doesn't matter in the end, but he was told that he could move, as long as he moved into District 19
if he won?
by Election Day, or even if he won afterwards, which...
That's a strange rule, y'all.
It is, but that's not the rule. The rule is you have to... you have to move there when you submit you're like 4 weeks ahead of the Election Day.
Uh-huh.
You have to be an elector in the district, not just a resident of the district. And to be an elector in a district, you have to live there for 28 days. So he would have had to move like in early February, or early March, I guess. But he was still on the ballot because he had qualified to be on the ballot because the clerk, somebody in the clerk's office made a mistake. But first of all, let's just note, he's just, rather than run in District 9 against Dickie Conklin and Joanne Pritchett, he's shopping for a seat that he thinks he can win.
Yeah.
And then he lost.
And then he lost by 9 votes, though.
Oh, that's just...
Recall.
Well, recount, whatever. John Jaquir held on to that seat by literally 9 votes. But again, I don't know if Nino would even be able to...
I was going to say, like, unless
take the seat.
He can prove, one, that he moved in within that 28-day time period, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Right, or got some sort of...
I don't know how you would get like a waiver or permission. Otherwise, it's not the rule.
Well, he's going to challenge somehow because those Madison clerks. There's probably 10,000 votes that they just didn't count. So if you're only down by 9, go for it.
Just go to the clerk's office, look under the tables, look in the drawers. You might find some votes.
Somebody might have it.
Barbara Harrington McKinney in District 20 easily held her seats with 79% of the vote over Sammy Kilgee.
Which is surprising because he also suspended his campaign.
Yeah. But still managed to get 21% of the vote.
I know.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it.
It's the moral.
Next week, Omar's going to run for...
Again, if I didn't move out of the north side,
you might have.
The chances of beating Beyonce just kept increasing.
Until he finally decided I just can't do it and decided not to run. But speaking of that, it's interesting that there were 3 people running who were supportive of Charles. And just to back up, Charles Madsey, as folks might remember, accused of domestic abuse of people, of women, of his wife and girlfriend back 20 years ago, and Gloria Reyes while he was on council just in the past couple of years, as well as he was censured for sexual harassment of city employees. Just a wide range of issues with him. He's currently awaiting trial on 7 domestic violence related felonies.
Pled not guilty.
Yeah.
Pled not guilty. Yep. Well, first tried to get all of the charges dismissed. The judge said no, thank you, and then he's since pled not guilty and has been bound over for trial. They haven't set the trial date yet. But amid all that, when they were trying to do the censure resolution, which is really toothless. It just is just a sort of a statement that we disapprove of this behavior. 4 people sided with Charles, basically: Barbara Harrington McKinney, Manuelana Rivera, Isidore Knox, and Nasser Wahilier, for various reasons. Some of for different reasons. And the only person who didn't get reelected after all that was Manuelana Rivera, who had other probably issues with certain constituents on the east side. So that didn't cost anybody much, I guess. But this new council will get sworn in later this month. It doesn't take very long to flip over the city council. So those are the local races that we were kind of watching. Statewide, the big news, obviously, was the Supreme Court race. Dane County went 82% for Susan Crawford, and the state went 55% for Susan Crawford and 45% for Brad Schimel, which is a little surprising.
But not really. I mean, this repudiation of all of Elon Musk's vote buying, all of Donald Trump's things. Brad Schimel was not a good candidate and has done controversial things that I've covered. So he's He's not. But the surprising part of that outcome was that they used a picture of my mom celebrating the news of Susan Crawford for the AP.
Yeah.
So,
fantastic.
way to go, Mom, for that.
I missed
like
that.
my
That's
mom
great.
famous.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. I guess I don't, we were talking about it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised that folks went with Crawford, only because, yes, part of it was because folks wanted to protect certain rights and et cetera. And felt like Crawford was the best person to protect some of these things, and impact change. But some folks just really didn't like Musk.
Yeah.
And I think things might have been tighter and closer if not for the fact that Musk interjected himself and needed to be centered in this race, right? Like, it's one thing if he would have just given money and said nothing. Mm-hmm. I think that would have made everything closer. But because he cannot help himself, like, he walks around and he wants to be the kingmaker.
Yep.
But dying to wear that
publicly.
crown. But dying to wear that crown,
Yeah.
though.
Mm-hmm.
It is not. He
yes.
wants to make himself the kingmaker. He can't do it because rules are there, laws are there. Uh-huh. But he is dying to be the king. And so, as somebody who, like emperor with no clothes, has to be in front of everything, and just turned off people so much. So I think more so than anything else. Well,
and somebody made a comment on social media somewhere that David and Charles Koch are effective because they just write the check.
They don't say anything. They stay out of the way. They make their wants clear though with how they use their money.
But they're not having the rally in the cheesehead.
And with the candidates directly, right? They're not. They're not publicizing it.
Yes.
They're not putting themselves in the center of the conversation. They're not trying to give away, show up at rallies to talk awkwardly with a cheese hat on their head.
Right, which is the same can be said for George Soros, which when he first started getting into politics 30 years ago, he tried to do a speaking tour of sorts, and it didn't go well. It actually hurt the candidates he was after, and so he's learned from that, and since then has just been writing the checks.
Yeah.
And he still gets dinged for that, obviously.
But he wants to be the kingmaker, right?
Yes.
He don't want to be the king.
Exactly.
And Elon wants to be both. Where he becomes the kingmaker and then anoints himself as king, emperor.
Or co-king, at least.
He wants to, he can be in charge of the moon. Mm-hmm. But,
I wonder also.
No, we can't.
I wonder also if.
Pluto. Give him Pluto.
It's still too much.
I miss Pluto. R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. to the planet.
It's still around.
It's still there, but it's not a planet anymore.
It lost its legacy a little bit there.
I wonder also if there's a certain number of Trump voters who are just going to vote for Trump.
And
don't even care about any other race.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. They're only there for that person. They're not going to come out for anybody else unless he's on the ballot. They ain't showing up for anybody else.
Right. And then just didn't come out to vote. They weren't necessarily coming out to vote for Susan Crawford, but just if Trump's not on the ballot, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't mind.
But that's why these Republicans are going to lose all of these seats at midterms, because if Donald's not out there campaigning for one specific or two specific people, his voting base doesn't care.
Even that doesn't have a great record. Even him endorsing House candidates doesn't have that great of a record, honestly.
He has to show up in the space to rally the troops. Yeah, he has to so come midterms, absolutely he will be in Wisconsin. And he will be doing a tour of Wisconsin, and dear goodness, everyone keep themselves
Donald, Madison 365, exclusive interview. Let's do it.
Let's do it together. Let's do it on the podcast. Watch me talk to him. Give me a second.
We will become the most read outlet
I know.
in this state.
Will we really, though?
Absolutely, for at least a week.
Maybe a day. And then maybe not even a day, half a day. Then we'll have to change my phone number again.
And then the other statewide election we'll mention is the state superintendent of public instruction, Jill Underly. Won over Brittany Kinzer, who was I don't know if you call her MAGA exactly, but she was definitely private school voucher, charter school.
Center right? Is
what some people privatization person, which, there's a lot of that topic gets a lot of traction, especially when you're talking about, there's a certain school of thought that particularly among
students
people of color that the current schools are failing them, so let's try something different. There's a movement of charter schools and voucher schools and stuff with that in mind, and a lot of those folks were endorsing Brittany Kinzer. Yeah, and that race was much closer than the Supreme Court race, but it's still, I think, the power of incumbency with Jill Underly was pretty strong in that one.
All right, careful. I didn't know where you were going. That's how we ended up downtown, Rob. Too much charter school talking. So, keep it down. That's how we ended up here.
Allegedly.
I mean, I will say, like, that person really could have had. They have no experience in this space, so it was interesting to me that anybody can like run like that. It's a reminder of like the privilege and the entitlement to like, I can do this thing for all these millions of children in this space without the experience or knowledge and know-how. Just because you're a parent does not mean that you know what's right for and best for all kids. Right. And absolutely, I think we can always push people, even the incumbents, to do better and do more. But it was interesting to me that like how money plays into this space that allows folks to feel like they can do this thing better than anybody else without the experience to do it. And, and like, sure, running a corporation or whatever, like experience they have in other fields and spaces can be helpful. But if you don't understand the way that these kinds of systems work, you are putting people like years and years behind, right? In a situation where at the federal level, there is already so much change and so much impact from dismantling the Department of Education that you really do need somebody who understands how to manage a whole system for a state right now, rather than somebody who knows how to be a CEO of a corporation.
Right.
Or, whatever their role is and stuff like that. So it was interesting to me how close it is. And I wondered too, like, folks like, well, we just need something different. Like, do you right now? Right now? Everything's about to change. Everything's changing already. Do you want to impact your kids like this again? As somebody who doesn't understand how the system works at a state level, let alone at a district level or a community level, right? Like, so it was interesting.
People who say government entities should be run like businesses. The school is for educating. We should not be running it like businesses.
No.
We should stop electing people who say
they want to run
it like a business.
Like,
it's not a business.
It's not competition. We don't want children to compete in that arena of trying to, to do math, right? Or to learn to read or to have school lunch. Yeah. Like, I don't want to. They're already competing for resources, so we're going to even make it more competitive in that space.
Right.
So, yeah. It does not also say, though, that school systems do need to do better for those who are black and brown. I will not.
There's no dispute there.
Yeah, they absolutely need to be better. She does need to be better at this. She needs to do some more work on this. She needs to get people in that space to help her figure that out and look at it better.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. That is not up for discussion.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget also that Jill Underley's idea for equity and inclusion among her staff was to assign a white woman to be the DEI leader without talking to anybody. Didn't make anybody apply for that job. Just said, you are the new DEI person, and here's these two black women who report to you, who never asked to do that. So that once we reported on that, that was walked back very quickly.
Yeah.
It was sort of a stumble.
Sort of a stumble. It had such a great impact if they would have left it in the way that they did, right? Like, it would have harmed so many things in different ways and stuff like that. But again, like, cool that you took it back. How else are you continuing to have impact? So if you're doing it at this level, what's happening at the student level?
Right, exactly. So Jill Underley was reelected, but still has some work to do, I think, in that regard.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move into the next story. Sorry.
If you're on YouTube ever or watch television or any streaming service, you might have seen a US Cellular commercial that is like really being like carpet bombed right now.
Yeah. It's not just on YouTube. Like, if I was on Hulu, I was watching them on Hulu, and it was coming up like every other commercial break.
And we might have gotten more because I was writing a story about it, and like the algorithm could tell.
No, before you wrote the story.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Relax.
That's good.
Not everyone's listening.
I never know, because it used to be like you just watch TV and you see a bunch of the same commercial, but now I don't know if it's because it's all streaming and it's all algorithm. I don't know if we're getting ads that nobody else is getting.
Oh, sure.
In any case, you probably have seen it because it has been pretty ubiquitous, but you'll see this longtime US Cellular employee named Eric and this real life US Cellular customer named Jeremy. and they do this funny little dance and stuff. And that Jeremy is one of the members of the 365 family. He's been on a panel at a summit. He lives in Minter Point. He went to University of Platteville, go Pioneers. He is a mental health service provider here in Dane County, and just sort of randomly got looped into this. Like he had a friend whose mom is an actress in Los Angeles, and heard that there's this casting call, and like called her kid, who is this friend of Jeremy, and who then called Jeremy and said, "Do you still have US Cellular?" And he said, "Yeah, that's the only cell service that I can get in Iowa County." Yeah. So then he did like an audition video on his phone in his back porch, and then they got to the next stage, and they had to do an audition and an interview over Zoom. And he was like, his work, he's cruising around the south side of Madison. And he's like, "Oh, I gotta go." So he went to the Madison College Goodman South Campus, where he sometimes goes to park and do his clinical notes. And he went to the librarian there. He's like, "Can I borrow a room quick without a reservation?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, go for it." But it's like one of those rooms that's all glass, and he's doing a dancing audition. Like people walking by going, "What is going on in there?" But anyway, he landed the role. He got flown first class to Austin, Texas.
Oh, nice!
And they did it was like a whole 2-day shoot for this 30-second commercial, which was a remarkable thing. But now he's like in around like Winter Point and Platteville, getting recognized by kids.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You're that guy in the commercial doing the crazy dance.
So that is awesome.
Yeah. So it's just really fun. It's just a fun story. So I got to talk with him the other day, and that is up at Madison365.org right now. And it's basically we're giving US Cellular free ad, but it's cool because it's one of our guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and move into the new CEO for CEOs of Tomorrow.
He's the CEO of today.
Oh, Rob.
Yeah.
You know what? You did so well at the beginning.
I liked it.
CEOs of Tomorrow is an organization that started right alongside us.
Yeah.
Like we were like office neighbors back at 100 State back in like 2016 or so, when Dr. Roxy Hentz was just getting started. And it's basically it's a program for sort of middle school, high school age youth in entrepreneurship. Right? They do summer programs. They do school year programs. They take kids to Africa once every summer, which was really cool. It's always, I think it's remarkable when a startup organization like that can move on, can continue when the founder is ready to move on. Yeah. Right. And she's ready to basically retire, which she has earned. But the organization has hired a new CEO, a young guy named DeAndre Martin, coming here from Oklahoma City to take on where he's been a sort of nonprofit exec. He's been like on the board of a co-working space down there. He's been in that sort of entrepreneur space. And while they're also taking on this new CEO, they're also moving into the Black Business Hub.
Oh, that's great.
Which would be on the south side of Madison, which is like the perfect place for them, honestly. So Dave Dahmer talked with DeAndre Martin about the new role, about his background, and we've had a kid go through the CEOs of Tomorrow, and
a couple times. Yeah,
it's
enjoyed it. It's a great program. Yeah, if you get a chance to participate, I highly encourage people to participate. It was a great experience for them. Yeah,
and it'll be interesting to see where he takes it. And we cover all the stuff they do, so we'll be on top of it as he takes it in his own direction.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move into
some sports. More sports. Some basketball sports.
Lots of sports.
There's a kid at La Follette whose name we're going to hear a lot, I think, in the future.
Yeah, Nachawani Ryak is a freshman. Well, I guess the school year.
She's still a freshman.
Still a freshman at La Follette.
And how many in her first game as a freshman? How many points did she score?
She had 48.
Oh my gosh,
that's ridiculous.
And she followed that again. That was against East. She followed that with 36 against East again.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
So she dominates East.
Yeah.
And she's 6'2", something like that.
Yeah,
freshman in high school.
I think 6'3"
okay.
She's still grown though.
Yeah. You went with her and her coach Will Green.
I did. She towers over Will, which is great.
Which is great. You're like, I love it.
She's amazing. Yeah, we sat down at Mentoring Positives on East Washington Avenue, and we spoke for about an hour about all things, how this season was for her, especially being a freshman, in high school. Yeah. Sometimes the older kids are not ready to sort of
make space, mantle, or even make space for somebody who's a freshman, right?
100%, especially one that's ranked by ESPN
already,
and already has several colleges that have made offers.
Wow.
UCLA, Alabama, Minnesota, I believe, are among those that have contacted Will, and
it'll only continue to grow, right? Like that list will only get bigger.
Yeah.
Yes, because AAU season starts now, and now she's going to really make her bones against the other best players in the country.
Yeah. That I think, AAU is where you really get noticed, right? In the summer tournament circuit. And, really cool.
Yeah. And so she says that her goal next season is to average, more than 20 points a game and just add a couple, couple numbers to each category.
Mm-hmm. Good for her. That's amazing.
Yeah, we'll be watching. We'll be watching, and we'll as news continues with her. But then also there's more basketball this weekend at the college level, right?
The men's Final Four is this weekend, and down in San Antonio. And there's some local kids in that as well. Con Knippel, who played at Wisconsin Lutheran last year, was Mr. Basketball for Wisconsin. He has been amazing in the NCAA tournaments.
Playing for Duke, right?
Playing for Duke. He's averaging 20 points a game in the tournament, and was featured by CBS last weekend after the game and during halftime.
Awesome.
And his whole family are some basketball legends, and his mom's numbers retired at UW Green Bay, where she's the all-time leading scorer, having graduated, 26 years ago.
Oh, wow. She's still? Nobody's... Wow.
Right. And she actually leads, all of college basketball history, I think, with, her field goal percent. And, her shooting percentage was off the chain. And so... then they've got 5 kids who all are champions here in Wisconsin. Nice. Con, of course, is at Duke, about to potentially win a national championship. Her youngest son won the 6th grade state championship.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Her 8th grade son won the state championship and the national championship. And her 2 middle boys, who are a freshman and sophomore at Wisconsin Lutheran, won state.
Wow.
God, it's like the Ball family, except that they're all actually good.
And they just sweep
everything.
Everything.
And every generation.
At every level is insane. So we were going to originally speak with them yesterday, but the mom, Shari, was like, I am so overwhelmed. Yeah, could we push it back an hour? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, wait, no, my other kid has a game at 5:30 and then a training at 6:30.
She's like, I'm sleepy.
She was drowning. Yeah. So I was like, look, well, we can, next season, let's refocus. Well, in October, November, when this basketball's starting. And she said, to just hit her up next week.
Yeah,
so
great.
Okay, so after Duke wins the NCAA.
After Duke wins, everything will calm down.
Because I imagine she's also incredibly worried about this weekend too. Among the other things that she's doing, right? Yeah. And running around with all the kids.
I'm sure they've got bigger press outlets than us. After them.
It wasn't even that, which is great.
Yeah.
But all of those championships that were just won by her kids were all happening at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So she was flying to every venue.
She's just exhausted, and it's a busy week for her. And then
I had one kid that was good at soccer, and that was enough. I was driving all over the place. And
you're exhausted.
Yeah, it was awful. She's got 5. That's amazing. Well, thanks for that, Nick. We'll watch that. We're hoping it works out next week, and we can talk more about that family and the legacy they're building in Wisconsin basketball.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get to the question,
yeah,
I know we are talking a lot and we haven't gone for a break. It's fine. I do want to mention Cory Booker's speech, though. There is no way for us not to mention.
Which part of it?
I mean,
hours 12 through 14 were the highlights.
Yeah, it was very brief. No, I mean, I think it. Some people said it's probably performative. I'm like, so what? I don't care that it was performative. Absolutely, it was planned. Absolutely, that man and said so. He said oh yeah, I was preparing for this, and I also made sure that I didn't eat for a weekend and I stopped drinking water after a certain time on Sunday so I could be prepared and take on this thing. Because I think part of that is like, sure, it was like everything else that are moments in time that people like talk about from history. There was thought into it and there was intention into it. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Right? Like, mm-hmm. And absolutely, like, he was prepared with the words. Yeah, good. He practiced them. He wrote them down. He probably saw himself in the mirror and started talking and thinking about what he was going to say. He's probably thought about it for a while. Absolutely got help with that. Great. Good. Because I think people needed that, quite frankly.
Just there's been a sense of, like, somebody do something. And whether it actually accomplishes anything or not, doesn't really matter. And politics is half performative anyway.
Yeah. Most of it's performative. I mean, half. Yeah.
But he did 25 hours. He spoke on the Senate floor. He held the Senate for 25 hours, which breaks the record.
From who?
From Strom Thurmond, who spoke for 24 and a half hours.
For what?
To filibuster the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah.
So his record now is broken by a black man. And who is basically filibustering the entire Trump administration.
Yeah. So he spent the entire time, and someone's like, well, he stopped the floor, and he did this, he stopped business. Yeah, good. Because someone needed to say it from that space, right? There are plenty of other people outside of that space who has been talking about how harmful, how detrimental all these executive orders and all this, like, Musk things and Dodge and all these things. Absolutely. Someone from that Senate floor needed to do something or say something or at least mean something.
Yeah.
Even if it was only for 25 hours, and fine. I don't care. Folks needed that. And both can be true. It was performative and it was necessary on some level.
Yeah.
Especially to break that record from Strom Thurmond. Because come on, y'all. You mean nobody's tried to challenge that? I'm sure they have. But like it's an incredible feat. It was a long time. There were plenty of people on that floor to also help support him. Right, so that there was an audience there, so he wasn't speaking to an empty.
Quite an ovation.
Yeah.
At the end too. Yeah. And when he went past the record, Chuck Schumer, the Senate leader, who has come up for some criticism for
some
sort of lack.
What do you mean some?
Leader in air quotes.
Yeah. Like what's some? What are you talking about? Some
actually said, will the speaker yield? Will the senator yield for a question, which you can do in a filibuster procedurally, and Booker said no.
Yeah, not you, sir. Like, no, I'm not done.
This is the one time I can tell you no.
Yeah.
Why
would you? Yeah, like, no.
God, to have a 25-hour set. What a dream.
I know.
Just have to hear me for 25 hours and 5 minutes.
Would be the dream for you. One day. Maybe on this podcast, we can just let it go running.
They just have to listen?
They just have to listen to it.
Some people's nightmare. My dream.
You're like, I don't even need anybody to hear it. Just me. I just need me.
Just workshop a lifetime worth of jokes.
Yeah, I bet.
I would love it.
I know you would. All right, let's go ahead and move right into the question.
Which is?
Which one did we sign? Oh, no. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
My dad frequently tells me, you should just buy a business.
Okay.
How? What do you want me to do? This is a man who bought a business with 4 of his brothers. 3 of them got deported, so he got to keep the business. So he didn't just buy a business, and now he's giving me the advice, Omar, in a time where it's significantly more expensive to open your own business. Hey, I did it. Why don't you do it? Give me more brothers with money. Seems to be the working solution there. But and it's all the time. It's not just like on occasion. That's the worst advice.
That was the worst advice. What about you, Rob?
It wasn't specific advice to me, but I went to Badger Boys State as a junior, between junior and senior year of high school, which is basically nerd camp. For boys, but and one of the camp counselors was like speaking and actually said, it is better to aim low and hit than aim high and miss. So clearly, like
horrible,
very
advice.
Inspirational right there.
When you're speaking to like a couple hundred future leaders,
what?
like just let's just keep the bar low.
Just aim low. You're like, I'm already short.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Higher
for that. What the heck?
I feel that.
Someone said set expectations low to me once, and then go over that. That I can see, right, on some level. But like telling you all like
purposely don't
go lower than that.
Don't try. Don't like aspire.
You can never be disappointed then.
I suppose.
Well, maybe. And you can't disappoint others.
I guess.
Just accept what you got. Is it like, never mind, I won't.
To be clear, not good advice.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Nick?
What about you?
I must say, I think the worst advice for me was to become a barista, which I don't know anything about doing, instead of continue to pursue my journalism career, which has decidedly gone better.
That being a barista?
Was it somebody say, like, journalism was just not a good
just in general
career right now, so you should just...
It was somebody concerned about, like, you just need a job right now, honey.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. That type of person. And so, like a mother or someone.
Yeah.
For example.
You already praised her.
Hypothetically.
For
example.
That's true.
So, like,
so his mom wanted me to be a barista, and I was like, no, I'm going to go for it. Like, I'm going to do it.
I having known your mom for a while, I think she's pretty happy.
She's very happy.
Yeah,
she's very happy.
She's very proud of you.
Moms get nervous, and I wondered if,
yeah,
if it could really happen. And I was like, oh, it's going to happen.
I went through a similar thing with my mom when I decided not to be a high school teacher, or not to be a school teacher of any kind, and so I'm going to be a writer, and that didn't go over real great. But here we are.
Yeah.
What about you, Steph? Worst advice you ever got?
Mine was
You should marry that guy, Rob.
I was just going to say that. So I didn't want to say that.
Don't worry, Rob did it. It was either there's two versions of like just take it or just let it go. Well, I'll take nothing from nobody.
Don't let anything go.
And I'm petty as heck. I don't let it go until I make it right, or until you make it right. So no. So I think that's like someone telling, like, and I've heard that a lot, like just take it in very different ways and for different things. I don't take nothing. I don't take anything that you give me, or that's Rob. I won't even take help. Like
you can't fight every fight, which is
yes,
a lie.
Which is a lie. Yes, I can.
You can
yes,
do
I can.
every single fight.
If you all know me. I've been this way since I was a child. This isn't like this wasn't something like I grew into it. Life like might have hurt me. No, I've been this messy and this petty for a long time. I came this way. I absolutely can fight every fight. I absolutely can insist on everything. I don't let nothing go. I remember. And my memory is long. And if you make it right, I still remember though. Like I just might tread around you in a different way, right? But I remember. But also, don't just let it go, or just what was the other one I said?
Just take it.
Just take it. I take nothing.
Yeah.
I have no.
Truly an icon.
No. I know. All right, y'all. We'll be back next week.
365 Amplified is produced and edited by me, Rob Chappell, and is a production of 365 Media Foundation, a nonprofit, local, independent media organization in Madison, Wisconsin. Wherever you're listening to this right now, hit the subscribe or follow button to get new episodes every Friday. And between episodes, get your latest news at madison365.org and follow us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. Wherever you get your news, we'll be there.